over there. I guess I'm going over there.
So this is old. I just thought he's okay. No, I know. I picked it up with this. Good. Yeah, no, listen. That's just the deal. I understand. Oh, I need a Siddur. That would help. Right Siddur. In the past, people have been grabbing the weekday, which is the one that's closest to the door, which would make a lot of sense if you grab that one coming in. But it's just Siddur Hadash. I just want to make sure, because we've had in the last couple of weeks. Oh, there's a sign? Oh, beautiful. I'm just covering my bases. That's all that's important. Okay, good. I'm happy to hear that. All right. Well, Shabbat Shalom, soon to be Shabbat Shalom. Great to see all of you here. We're a modest crowd tonight, but I'm happy that you're here. So let's welcome in Shabbos. Let's welcome in Shabbat on page 16 with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei into Rabbi, I think it was a Wednesday that we were both here a little later in the afternoon. Both of us were recovering from being a little sick. And then yesterday I started coughing a little bit, and now I'm coughing again. So I'm feeling great. I feel fine. I just think it's, I don't know what it is. But I'm appreciative because your voices sound beautiful without me. So really, I'm just going to be the accompanist tonight. You guys take over the service. Stuff like that. But if I do start coughing in the middle, you'll know why. All right. So we begin our Kabbalat now with the selected psalms, a psalm for each day of the week until we reach L'Chadodi, a psalm that welcomes in our beloved Shabbat Queen. But we'll start with our first one of the week, Lechuna Ranana, Psalm 95 on page 22. We'll sing the first few lines at the top of the psalm, and then we'll conclude the last 3 lines that'll take us right into the next page on 24 on Psalm 96. So this is Lechuna Ranana. Lechuna Ranana, Lechuna Ranana, Lechuna Ranana, Ladonai, Lechuna Ranana, Lechuna Ranana, Lechuna Ranana, Ladonai. Nariya, Nariya, Betsoi Shenu, Nekadma Chana Betoda. Nariya, Arba'im Shana Aku Bedor Va'omar Tuei Levavem Vehem Lo Yad'u Derechai Asher Nishbati Ve'api Im Yemo'un El Menuchati. Page 24, sing unto Adonai a new song. Let us all join together in a nigun, a wordless melody. Alai, la, 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 alai, la, 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 alai, la, 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 alai, la, 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 alai, la, 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 alai, la, 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 ya, la, 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 ya, la, 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 alai, la, 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 ya, la, la, ya, la, la. Continue moving forward into our Psalms, each day increasing with joy. We reach page 26 for Psalm 97. We're looking at the last two lines, Or Zarua Lat Tzaddik, light is sown for the righteous and joy for the upright in heart. Last week I introduced a new one for us, a new Lachadodi, and I really like it so much because it's very somber, it's very sweet. So we're going to turn right to Lachadodi on page 38. So this is Rabbi Joshua Warshawski's. He's written a lot of different really beautiful pieces, and this is another version of his Lachadodi. So I'll give you a little intro, give you a little feel for how the chorus, the Lachadodi part, comes along, and hopefully you'll feel moved to join. second last stanza, Yamin Usmol. Yamin Usmol, Tifroti, Ve'et Adonai Ta'aritzi, Ayarish Be'poiti, Ve'eni Smecha, Ve'nagila Lecha Tehoti, Likra Kalo, Penei Shabbat, Ekavela Lecha Tehoti, Likra Kalo, Penei Shabbat, Ekavela. So we rise and face our entrance as we are rising to greet the Sabbath bride, as the last stanza goes. Boi v'shalom, atere b'olam, gam mesimcha u'tzahala, toch amunei asekula, boi chala, boi chala. Lecha Tehoti, Likra Kala, Penei Shabbat, Ekavela. Lecha Tehoti, Likra Kala, Penei Shabbat, Ekavela. Penei Shabbat, Ekavela. Beautiful. Is that the next one? I love that one. It's become one of my new favorites. So we are almost at a minyan. Can't quite count the Torah to make a minyan yet. So have a seat for now. I'm just talking out loud. Let's go into our Sabbath Psalm on page 43. Let's read together responsively in the English, where it says, "It is good to thank you." I'll begin. It is good to thank you, Adonai, to sing praises to your exalted name. To the sound of the 10-string lyre, with voice and the music of the harp. How great are your deeds, Adonai, how profound are your designs. Though the wicked may thrive like grass, and the doers of evil seem to flourish, those who oppose you will perish, the workers of iniquity will be routed. I see the defeat of my foes, and I hear the doom of my enemies. And that's exactly where we'll land back into the Hebrew on 42, the last 4 lines, Tzadik Katamar. Tzadik Katamar yifrach, keretz b'Lebanon yizkeh, shetulim beve So that in mind, as I mentioned before, this is our transition now from the Kabbalah, the receiving of the Sabbath as the sun goes down, into our evening Shabbat service, but with our minimal, almost so close to a minyan. We're not able to recite the Baruch Hu, but let us begin together on page 50. And I like to start Baruch Hu normally with a nigun, my wordless melody, things that kind of get us into that mode. So let's begin with the nigun first, and then we'll read together in the Hebrew. La 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim bechokma potech she'arim uvitvuna meshane itim umachalif et hazmanim umsader et hakochavim b'mishparotehem barakia kirtzono Borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or. Uma'aver yom umevi layla umavdir ben yom uven layla Adonai tzevaot shemo el chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Amari Varavim. We turn now to page 52, Ahavat Olam, the great love of the world, of our people Israel, that'll lead us into the Shema. And usually when we don't have a full minyan before reciting the Shema, we say the words El Melech Ne'eman, and we'll say them together before the start. So let's go back to page 52. Ahavat Olam. Ohev Israel. את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, מהיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Continue with the prayers of the Shema quietly on page 56, or you can choose this moment for a little reflection or calm. למען תזכרו ועשיתם מכל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. We turn over to page 61, Emet ve'emunah, God our Redeemer. Let's read responsibly. True and certain it is that there is one God, incomparable, and that we, the household of Israel, are God's people. Great are the things which God has done, with wonders which are without number. May God continue to protect our people, all people, and God guard all humankind from disaster. They accepted God's sovereignty willingly and sang in joyous thanksgiving. And that leads us over to the indented sentences towards the bottom of page 60. I'll begin with Umalchoto, that'll lead us into Michamocha. ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם, משה ובני ישראל לכענו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו חולה. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורות תהילות עושה page 62, we continue with one of my most favorite prayers of the Shabbat evening service, Hashkivenu. Help us, O God, to lie down in peace and awaken us to life on the morrow. May we always be sheltered in your tabernacle of peace. This has also become one of my favorite settings for Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Leshalom Mehamidenu Malkeinu Lechayim Lechayim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Ve'amitenu Malkeinu Lechayim Ofros Aleinu Sukat Shalomecha Me'ata ve'ad olam Me'ata ve'ad olam Me'ata ve'ad olam Baruch atah Adonai Haporeh sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. So as we continue into our service, we turn to Vishamru for a little more of a pep in our step on page 64, Vishamru. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael Shabbat Lasot et Shabbat Le'Torotam berit olam Vishamru b'nei Yisrael Shabbat Lasot et Shabbat Le'Torotam berit olam Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam oti le'olam oti le'olam Veshamru b'nei Yisrael Shabbat Lasot et Shabbat Le'Torotam berit olam Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz Veshamru b'nei Yisrael Shabbat Lasot et Shabbat Le'Torotam berit olam Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Veshamru b'nei Yisrael Shabbat Lasot et Shabbat Le'Torotam berit olam. So as we make our way into our Amidah, one of our central prayers, we are entering Rosh Chodesh, the new month of Elul. So in your Amidah, there is a section to acknowledge Rosh Chodesh, and I can tell you exactly on page 72. The Amidah is done silently, so feel free to use the Hebrew, the English, your own personal meditations of gratitude that we thank God for on this day of rest. And we'll continue with Chati Kaddish. Then the Amidah will be quietly from 69 through 76. Yitkadav, yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, v'yamad yivrach edotev yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon, uvchayedecho beit Yisrael, bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv ve'yimru, Amen. Yeshmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam ul'almei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal Shemei l'kodesha berecho Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata Soshvechata v'nechemata Damiran b'yama v'yimru Amen. So again, those are pages 69 through 76 with Ya'aleh v'yavo, the blessing for Rosh Chodesh, on 72. Rosh Chodesh הזה. זוכרין אדוני לנו וטובה בוקר ולא תברך לחיים וקרבה ישוע ברחמים וחוץ ברחמים וברחמים עלינו ברשעים כי אלה אני זכיר ברחם וברחם באתם אנחנו ya'aseh, oh ya'aseh, oh ya'aseh shalom. Oh ya'aseh, oh ya'aseh, oh ya'aseh shalom. Oh ya'aseh, oh ya'aseh, oh ya'aseh shalom. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. So let us turn to the page 80. Bring this on back, Rabbi Vayacholu. So we're going to continue together an excerpt from Genesis, the story of creation, Vayacholu, page 80. Vayacholu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzeva'am Vayachal Elohim bayom hashvi melachto asher asa vayishpot bayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa vayavarech Elohim et yom hashvi vaykadesh oto Kivosh Shabbat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim lasot. So we'll turn now to page 90 as we rise for the Kiddush, the blessing of the wine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodesho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaro lema'aseh v'reishi ki hu yotechilo lemikdae kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim kivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodeshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinechaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. L'chaim. All right, you can be seated. So I want to just talk briefly, not actually about the Torah portion, but about what's going to be happening in the next, 30 days. So as I mentioned, tonight, tomorrow, Saturday night is all the start of Rosh Chodesh. And when we move from Av to Elul, you take the last day of Av and the first day of Elul to create this Rosh Chodesh, this beautiful transition of introspection, of working within ourselves to better everyone else around us. And so there's this really great book that was given to me. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it. It's called 60 Days, Spiritual Guide to the High Holy Days. And I wanted to read you the first day because I just thought it was an interesting way in which to consider working on ourselves, even just a little bit every day. So I wanted to read you what they call breaking damaging patterns. So this is for the first day, or the last day of Av into the first day. Moses' Elul journey actually begins 7 generations earlier with Abraham's journey. In the book of Genesis, chapter 12, verse 1, God speaks to Abraham and says, "Go from your land, your birthplace, the home of your parents, to the land that I will show you." Right? We're all familiar with this. This is very strange because when you tell someone to travel, you specify the destination in detail. But you don't describe over and over again the point of departure. After all, the person knows where they are going, where they're leaving from, but not where they're going. But here, God tells Abraham to leave his land, his birthplace, and the home of his parents, 3 descriptions of his present location, and then, when it comes to the destination, God tells him to go to a land, without naming it or even hinting at where it is. Hasidic thought, which gives voice to the inner dimensions of the Torah, explain that in truth, this verse is really a commandment issued by God to each of us. Quote, "Go on a journey of self-discovery. Leave behind anything that might hold you back, and then I will show you the landscape of your divine soul, the true you." If you want to discover your higher self, this is the secret. Many people get inspired and motivated to go on such a journey. They actually pack their bags, literally or metaphorically, and set out on their way. But after a while, they end up coming right back where they started, repeating the same old patterns. Good intentions are pure and real. When you decide to leave, you really want to get someplace, but you have so many things weighing you down, so many quote-unquote golden idols, things that you are drawn to, things that you're used to doing. So the key to a meaningful change is not so much knowing how to get to a new place, it's knowing how to unload the past so that it shouldn't shape your future and bring you back to your old patterns. So a question for us all. In what areas of your life are you repeating old patterns? In what ways are they damaging to you? So I'll give you an example on my own, because I was thinking about this too. And at first, the words damaging was a little bit triggering. I'm like, I'm not doing anything that's damaging. I'm perfectly fine. But then I really thought about it. And you hear this a lot, but it really is important every year, especially during this time of year for myself, and I imagine for Rabbi as well, is self-care, right? It's something that seems so logical, so necessary, but sometimes when we get wrapped up in all the things that need our attention, whether it's in relationships or in your professional life, it often is the last thing that gets our attention. So for me, I'm taking a note from my sons, because I am a mother after all. And what I tell my oldest is, let's not focus on the things we can't do. Let's focus on the things we can do. And how can we help your little brother, right? Because that's really where this is going. It's from the 5.5-year-old to the 2-year-old. Let's not focus. You can't do this. You can't play with my toys. You can't go up on this chair. What can we do instead? And I think that's perfect for us, for at least for self-care. The patterns, the damaging pattern that I see is always waiting till the last minute to do something good for me so that I feel like I'm grounded and ready for my day. So what can we do versus what we can't do? So that's my personal example. Is there anyone willing to share anything that comes to mind, or what could help you as you move forward in this new month as we get closer and closer to the new year, Jewish New Year? And it's perfectly acceptable not to share, but it's also something to consider and to think about, especially over this next Shabbat, as we say goodbye to summer and say hello to probably a pretty warm September would be my guess. But I'll just give you guys a moment to think about it on your own, or if anyone wants to share, they're welcome to do that too. And I'll ask a question again. In what areas of your life are you repeating old patterns? And in what ways are they damaging to you? Is there one thing that you can do that could break that particular pattern? So as we're thinking about this, as we're moving into Rosh Chodesh, there are some things that are added to our service to give us, I guess, some clarity and some really mindfulness into what will happen in our new year. So because we're in Rosh Chodesh, I mentioned earlier, we're reading a special paragraph that highlights particular times in our calendar. Today is, and tomorrow is Rosh Chodesh. We ask God for all these beautiful blessings of health, of goodness. We are going to be reciting Hallel tomorrow, the shortened version. Since Elul begins, on Sunday, we will begin reciting Psalm 27, which has one of my favorite verses. Achat she'alti, if I may sing all praises all the days of my life. And we also listen to the shofar. So these little things are added into our day as we get closer to remind us, right, the shofar, to remind us, to ground us, to help us, and to lift us up. So however that looks for you, whatever patterns you need breaking, whatever fulfillment that you're seeking, I hope this month, this incoming month, is fruitful and meaningful for all of you. So let us continue in our service. We'll turn now to page 118, and we rise for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, ממלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום, והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עודנו. If it's your custom, you may be seated. We continue 120. כי המלכות שלה היא ולעולמי תמלוך בכבוד, כך כתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד. ושמו אחד, ושמו אחד. We take a moment to pause in our service to remember those who are no longer here in the physical world, but always in our hearts. During this past week, we remember Norman Sattler, Rose Skolnick, Martin Witkin, Adele Brown, Lou Chaifetz, Morton Lakin, Morris Mo Linetsky, Sherry Ginock, Rocky, Rose Solaf, Herman Fink, Zimmett Herman, Anna Zimmett, David Rosen, Lisa Silver, Sydney Wasserstein, Irving Barish, Stanley Bernstein, S. Eugene Coben, Isadora Fine, Lillian Goldstein, Michael Seitchik, Francis Boisel, Irving Horowitz, Louis Kaplan, Mildred Arnold, Gladys Abrams, Sophie Burstein, Ruth Leah Fishman, Benjamin Graff, Morris Hirsch Gordon, Marina Klein, June Levin, Rose Rosenfeld, Gerald Schulman, and Alan Weiss. And if I'm not mistaken, Marcy, you said your father has a yard site tonight? David Ben Benjamin, Daniel Lyons. Are there any other names that might have been missed for yard site tonight? And also during our period of Shloshim, we note with the sorrow the passing of Melissa Levy, wife of Ray Levy, and Les Cernitsky, husband of Joyce, father of Craig and Anya Cernitsky. For those of us reciting yard site tonight, we rise together and lift our voices to recite Mourner's Kaddish, page 124. Yitzkadal v'yitzkadash shemei Rabbah, be'amad yivarach ertei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kari v'yimru amen. Yehi shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam ul'amei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei l'kudashah b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata da'amiran me'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shalama Rabbah min shemaya V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May each of their memories be for a blessing. And Marcy will make sure we can connect after Shabbat so we can add your father to our list. So I don't have any announcements right off the bat. One thing I can for sure tell you is that now that we're talking about the High Holy Days and the spirit of Slichot is coming up, the Shabbat before the holidays, Tu Shabbatot, but something that gets us into our mood, and that is Saturday night, September 18th, I believe, 17th, 18th? 17th, yeah. Thank you. And it's a wonderful event. We hope that you'll come out. It'll be a wine and cheese event with an informal service. So we'll hope you come out for that. I believe we're going to start right as soon as Shabbat ends. That's 7:45. So a little later on the late side, but it's a really nice time for us to get together and really be together to begin the High Holidays soon. So that's the biggest announcement that I have. I know there's so many things that we do every week in and out. So absolutely check your emails, your pink supplements, and if anybody has anything they want to share, I'm happy to receive it. But if not, seeing as I was nice and quiet, I thank you all for being here tonight. Services tomorrow are at 9:45 in the sanctuary. We're changing our spaces a little bit. But we hope you'll be able to join us. Our friends online, thank you for all being here tonight. Let's conclude our service, if there are no other announcements. I do want to say a special welcome to our friend Kevin over here. He's joining us as a guest, and we welcome you as many times as you'd like to be with us. Thank you, Kevin. It's good to see you all so much. Let's end our service tonight with Adon Olam on 128. Adon Olam Hashem Alach B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivrach Le'ad Nasa B'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora Ve'u Ve'hu Yeh תישן ויעירה ואם רוחי יביאתי אדוני לי ולא יירא אדוני לי ולא יירא שבת שלום שבת שלום שבת שלום ומבורך שבת שלום שבת שלום שבת שלום ומבורך. Good Shabbos, everybody. Right, and I realize it's a heavy question, but yeah. How do you listen? Oh, sure.
Hello to your husband. We got to run, Gal. We're meeting the Bermans for dinner. Came today.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of great things about you, so good luck to you. I hope it does. And I think I wrote you. I do. Yes, I'll see you. I love it. I will get back to you. No, I got that. Okay. Oh, okay, that's very sweet. Okay. All right. Thanks, Shelley. Yeah, like it's like a tickle.
Yeah, it's a little, I know. I have
And-
the same tickle. It's not
Yeah.
going away.
I mean, you never know with these things. Oh, let me,